hate it.
Good afternoon, everybody. Welcome back to another episode of the Rugby Scoop. What a weekend we've had so far. I mean, I know it's Sunday. We still have two more quarterfinals to play. We've got England versus Fiji in just an hour, and we've got South Africa versus France at 9 p.m. But today's focus now, currently, Ireland, the All Blacks, Argentina, Wales. Hugh, how are you doing? I know it's been a tough one for you. How are you feeling?
Yeah, hello everybody. Tough one to take, always a tough one to take. But, you know, it's not the end of the world. I don't think Wales were expecting to go much further than one round more than this. So it is what it is. I can't get too heartbroken about it.
All right. Jade, All Black supporter, pulled one over the Irish. How are you this Sunday?
Kia ora, guys. Kia ora. Nah, I'm still smiling, still buzzing, still watching the highlights every time I get a chance, popping on the highlights, going through that last few minutes of last night. But oh, what a game. What a game. Both games yesterday, brilliant games. I'm doing well. I hope we can get another two spectacular games today, guys.
Yeah, fair enough. Vuyo, you enjoyed both games last night at the Wales, Argentina, and the All Blacks Ireland?
Yeah, good afternoon, everyone. Yeah, fantastic. No, both games were brilliant, brother. They were great. It was good to watch. I was actually very impressed with how some of the teams came out. I think for me, it's just I really enjoyed it, and obviously feeling nervous about tonight. We'll see how it goes. Yeah, let's go.
As Makai Antini once said in an interview, "Ooh, the nerves are taking over." Anyway, gentlemen, let's start with Wales versus Argentina. A lot of people were making predictions during the week. A lot of people saw the Northern Hemisphere semi-final put out. Everyone didn't give Argentina a chance after losing against England. And yeah, they pulled it off yesterday. Vuyo, let's break this down a little bit. I mean, what are your thoughts? What are your takeaways from that particular quarterfinal yesterday?
Yeah, I think, look, I was very disappointed with how Wales were so in control of the game and let it go loose. Obviously, Argentina fought right through till the end. I think for the older guys to come in and actually win the game for Argentina says a lot. As Jade has really tweeted about Sanchez and then Creevy, both having winning moments. It was actually impressive. But I think, look, I honestly think Wales just threw the game away. It's unfortunate that it ended up like that, but that's what happens in World Cups. World Cups, you have to take your moments. You have to take, especially going into the knockout rounds, you have to make sure that every game is a final, because you leave everything out there, and then whatever happens, you sort out the next week. If you're out, obviously you go and enjoy, have a couple of beers. But that's what I felt. Wales were. They were so they should have won that game. They were so in control of it until they just let let Argentina back in. They just let Argentina come back in small moments, and obviously Argentina started believing, and then that's why I think the result is what it is. But as Hugh said, he still has one team in the World Cup, which is Fiji. So let's hope that they keep going.
Yeah, fair enough. Game management, controlling the game. Hugh, your takeaways in this particular match? I mean, considering the fact that Wales do have quite experienced bunch of players within their structures, and what Warren Gatland has done with this team at group stages. What are your takeaways in this game?
Yeah, it's disappointing. We should have won, and I think Wales overall are a better team than Argentina, and it's kind of not a shame. I don't know. If you win it, you win it, and fair enough. But is this Argentinian team a semi-final team? Was many people backing them to get to the semi-finals of this World Cup beforehand? No, and we saw them really struggle in the Rugby Championship. From Wales' point of view, we should have had the game dead and buried by 20 minutes. We were well on top there, and it was all going very well. And I think we had 3 lineouts in there, 22, and we messed all of them up. And they say, like, oh, the lineout's not always the fault of the hooker. I think all 3 of them were overthrows from Ryan Elias, which is really disappointing because he's really improved that through this World Cup. So, Vujo's right. Just Argentina just gained belief and belief and belief through it. And every time Wales made a mistake, it's like Argentina grew an inch taller. And the painful thing about it was that up until the intercept right at the end, Wales were very much in the game, even for playing badly, even for not having control. That Lewis Rees-Zammit chance could have won the game for us in the end. So that's what makes it painful as a fan. They say it's the hope that gets you, but even when we were behind in that game, we had hope right up until the intercepts. And you talk about the game management and the experienced players. Yeah, obviously we had Alan Wynne and Tipuric retired before the tournament, as did Rhys Webb, although it's debatable whether he would have definitely gone anyway. And then you had Ken Owens was injured, and you had Liam Williams got injured, had to go off. Dan Biggar wasn't able to play 18 minutes. So by the end, the team that we had on the pitch, I think the most experienced players would have been George North and Josh Adams. And I'm not sure from outside centre, from a wing, are you able to influence the game? Certainly the pack would have been very, very inexperienced. Faletau as well was missing as well. Gareth Davis would be the other really experienced player that we had. Fair. So, we just let it go. Like I said, we should have won. And I think, Wales on balance are better than Argentina. And I think over the next couple of years, Wales will go on to be a step clear of Argentina, will be in the next couple of years. Yeah. But, this is the thing about knockout rugby, is it's not a best of 3. You don't get another go. There's no judges on the side of the pitch that say, well, yes, that was the scoreline, but this was a better team. It's one match on one day, and there it is. There you go. We didn't win. Disappointing. But this World Cup, no one in Wales was expecting to win this. We were all hopeful of getting to a semi-final. We're disappointed not to, but we'd have got absolutely destroyed by the All Blacks. So I can't be too upset.
Fair enough. Jade, we're talking about golden oldies from the Argentinian side of things. They came on and started obviously managing that game very well, and obviously put Wales under pressure, getting interceptions. Sanchez, who's proving to be quite a valuable member of that team, off the bench, to close off the games. And I think Michael Cheika has also said that as well in his pressers during the week. I mean, your takeaways from the Argentina-Wales quarterfinal?
Yeah, there's 2 hot manner. Sanchez and Creevy they changed the game. I think Argentina in the attack was very static, one-dimensional. As we're looking at the tries they scored, one came from an intercept, the other one came from a drive from a maul, and then they picked up and drive and they scored. But even when Creevy came on and Montoya went off, I was like, okay, why would you make the change 5 meters out from a line-out? I mean, it was a 5-meter line-out. Surely you would wait until the line-out is over and then make the change. It's high risk, but it paid off. They scored. The turning point in the game for me was those 3 entries Wales made into the 22 of Argentina in the first half. Not getting those lineouts, not winning those lineouts was critical. It's actually, for me, I think it's inexcusable to do it the same mistake 3 times. And then Wales just allowed them back into the game. It was what Argentina squeaked a penalty at the end of the first half in 41 minutes or so. They scored a penalty to make it to close the gap to 4 points. And then Wales got momentum again in the second half for the try of Williams. You really saw the momentum shift with Argentina stuck in, they hung in there, and they came out victorious. I don't know if it's something that they planned, if that was a game plan. I don't think it was the game plan. But well done to them. We've seen these performances from Argentina before against, the Boks and against New Zealand, where they just hang in there and they managed to get the win, managed to get the W. Without Matera, I didn't really expect them to win it. I think the guy that put his hand up yesterday was Kramer, the seventh flank of Argentina. He was just absolutely brilliant for them. But still, I don't believe that they will make the final. But you never know. I mean, they can go in this weekend preparing and say, "Well, we beat the All Blacks before twice in the last 2 years. Why can't we do it again?"
Yeah.
And on the day, anything can happen.
No, 100%. Still sticking with you, Jade, a bit. I mean, on the tactical side of things, I mean, was there a clear tactic from Argentina or Wales? We understand there is Gatland ball, but I mean, was there clear tactics from both sides from what you observed yesterday?
Wales looked much better, more fluent on attack. I mean, they started, to shift the pillar from Argentina side. I mean, you saw the try that Williams scored. They took the gap there.
Yeah.
The inside ball, they had inside runners running the inside channel was working. I mean, George North, every time he took the ball, made meters. Reece Zammit looked menacing. The only player from Argentina that looked menacing in the first half was Carreras, the winger. And I mean, he was heavily marked in the game. They ended up taking a lot of standoffs with Kramer and what's the Eitzman, Issa, and Lavanini. But Argentina are so impatient when they get to the try line. They got try line fever so much times yesterday that I thought, you know what, they throwing this game. They're kicking themselves in the foot because they're shooting themselves in the foot because how many times were there opportunities for them in that first half where, they picked up and drive, and eventually they lost the ball or they had a knock on and they lost that whole momentum. But like I said, they stuck in there and they won the game. But for me, Wales had a much better display, much better game plan. Their attack looked much more fluid than Argentina. They just threw the game away.
No, fair. Hugh, I mean, Gatland ball is the thing, and I don't know what happens from here onwards. Gatland also said in his presser that he's not sure if he is going to continue. He hasn't looked at his contract. As a Welshman, do you see Gatland continuing, first of all, or would you want him to continue? Because, I mean, there's hardly anybody who understands Welsh footy like Warren Gatland currently.
Yeah, he's not going anywhere. I think he is excited by the future of this team. I think he sees a group of young players that he can mould in his image. There's no one out there who is a better candidate. We tried the fun throwing the ball around coach in Pivac. That didn't work. I speak to Wales fans who say they would rather go out at the group stage and play interesting, exciting rugby than go far in tournaments playing like this. I can't get my head around that personally. I have my club side, the Scarlets, to entertain me and throw the ball around. I've got Wales to win Grand Slams and to get to semi-finals of World Cups, and I don't really care how we get there. Gatland is going nowhere. I think, like I said, he's enthusiastic. He's got really the bug and the hunger for it. I hope he doesn't go off and coach the Lions. I hope Andy Farrell gets that opportunity. But yeah, it's all. This isn't a setback for Wales. I don't think it's like some of the other nations who have gone out or going to go out in the semi-finals. This isn't. This isn't like a disaster for us. This is one of those things, and we'll just keep building and probably win a Grand Slam in a couple of years, and everyone will be mad at us then.
Jade, do you want to jump in?
Yeah, apparently Castori, the kit designer from Wales, they didn't predict that Wales would make it through. That's why the numbers kept on peeling off the jerseys yesterday.
Yeah, I don't know what happens with that. I believe the way that it's done, this might be wrong, but I believe the way that it's done is that the numbers get printed on the back of the jerseys on the day
Yeah.
of the game.
Yeah.
So
the jerseys are per player per size. So they get about 5 or 6 jerseys for the tournament, according to your size, and then your number on match day gets printed on your jersey.
yeah. So Gatland tried to blame Macron, but I think the kitman's had a stinker. But oh well.
Fair enough, gents. Vuyo, on the backline perspective, looking at the Welsh backline, looking at the Argentine backline, I think Argentina very unorthodox in their attack as well. It's very unpredictable attack as well. Welsh more organized. They seem to be balanced in some areas as well. I mean, what are your thoughts looking at those two backlines and how tactically Argentina played versus Wales?
Yeah, so I did watch the game a little bit. I didn't have fully focus on the backs and stuff. I apologize for that. But if I look at the both teams in terms of what they selected and who they selected, I think if we look at Argentina, we're always going to go with Boffelli at 14, and obviously he's been doing quite well for them there. I still think he's too slow to be a wing. Many opportunities that he would have gotten in the game, he wouldn't finish. He's not a finisher because of obviously the speed factor. But I think when you look at the back three of Wales, they definitely had a better balance. I was very surprised they picked Adams. I was very surprised. I thought Dyer was, for me, I would have gone with Dyer considering the form that he had. I mean, that line break that he did with the two tacklers, he bounced off the two tacklers. I'm not sure if the inside was open, but I would have felt that he needed to keep that ball alive instead of going down with it on the ground. Obviously, Zamet, constant headache in the teams, in the oppositions. Then obviously Williams he's always pretty good. So I think if you look at the two backs with Bigger at 10. Yes, he didn't have enough. Maybe he didn't go full 80. But I think if you look at the backs, Wales definitely had more fire in the backs than Argentina. Argentina knew exactly what they wanted to do, which was frustrate Wales, get the points, kick for poles. That's it. That they didn't. They weren't gonna throw the ball around like they've tried before. And I think the inside center is actually quite a strong bugger. He's got good feet, but like I say, they knew they weren't gonna outrun Wales, so they needed another way to do it.
Yeah, I think also it felt like Argentina were actually targeting Dan Bigger with those late hits. I think he was limping as well at one point, hence he couldn't finish the game. Yeah, Uncle TP, I see you in the groove, in the mix. Share your thoughts, Argentina, Wales, and then we jump on to the All Blacks against Ireland.
Gentlemen, it's been a while, but I mean, just a bit of food for thought for you. On his comment of Wales trying to play a bit of a expansive game, but him not liking it. And I think if you go look back at yesterday's game, Wales had more than enough opportunities to score more tries and really put the points on Argentina, but just that lack of skill set, that lack of finesse, that lack of decision making really allowed Argentina to stay in the game. And we all know that a team away. I mean, like any side. And I think Wales have proven, Ireland have proven over the years that if you're patient and you work on your skill set, you build your skill set, then an attacking game is possible. But we'll get to the Ireland game later. So that's just my thoughts on Wales and where they need to progress and the patience I think people need in terms of giving a new coach an opportunity. But obviously the right coach that will do the right things,
Yeah, the new coach was still Warren Gatland. All right, gentlemen. And then the second semi-final was between New Zealand and Ireland during the week. Again, I think everyone had their thoughts set with regards to New Zealand not being physical, New Zealand not the same anymore or not having the same aura? Those are some of the questions that were posed onto Foster and his players during the pressers. I mean, on social media as well, I think nobody gave him a chance. Jade, you are still buzzing. You still have a beer in your hand as we speak. You're excited. You happy with the performance last night from your team, the All Blacks?
I'm happy with the game overall. You know, everything about the game. I mean, it's not like Ireland were poor yesterday. Ireland was they came back into the game. They didn't fold once New Zealand took that lead. I'm happy with the game. I'm happy with the All Blacks performance. I mean, we've been saying it for months. We want the All Blacks to show ballast, to step up, to show that physicality, and eventually they did it yesterday. And it all came from the skipper, Sam Game. He led from the front. He put in a captain's knock and everybody followed. I mean, the try-saving tackle from Jordie Barrett, or not the tackle, the hold-up play on the reserve hooker, can't get his name now, but at the end, he scores that 9 times out of 10. It's on this day, the All Blacks, Jordie Barrett kept him up.
Yeah.
Key playmakers, or key squad members like Dankles, Sam Whitelock, Anton Leonard-Brown, coming off from the bench, making a difference, adding experience on defense, being clutch at key moments. I mean, the line break O'Brien made in the 75th minute or so. Anton Leonard-Brown, he came from the blind, and that was just, he set the tone. They were good. All Blacks were good yesterday, but they allowed France on the Ireland back into that game. They made a few errors. I mean, the first try Ireland scored came from Fritzell winning a line-out steal, not keeping the ball, throwing the ball over to Adam Smith-Bogus, charged down eventually. They set up play, they score. Exit play from Beauden Barrett after the All Blacks scored, or Adesanya scored. Matt Hansen catches the ball from there. Eden Smith gets a yellow card. Then the third try of Ireland, Sam Whitelock going up for the steal on the 5, not getting the steal. Penalty try, Cody Taylor going off. So, they still made a few coach-killing errors. However, they were magnificent on defense in that last 15 minutes especially. They were brilliant. It's something really to silence the critics, but I'm not going to fall for this and say Ireland choked. They played their part in the game yesterday. They were good as well.
No, 100%. Hugh, your thoughts on last night's quarter?
Incredible game, incredible finish. I was exhausted watching it, and I was lying on the sofa, so I can't imagine what the players were experiencing. It was breathless. New Zealand, we had a clue to this because in the Rugby Championship, New Zealand's defence was unbelievable. I think they went 3 halves of rugby without conceding a try, and their ability to tackle Ireland's attack was phenomenal. The deception, whenever Sexton had the ball, you had no idea whether he was going to give the short pop pass, whether he was going to go at the back, whether he was going to take contact. It was so unpredictable, but the way the All Blacks just tackled their man, got him down, didn't let him over the gain line, then got back on their feet and got back into the line. That's fitness. That's what real fitness looks like. And we've seen all the stats about the ball in play time. I think it was something like 41 minutes ball in play time in this game, which is the highest of the World Cup so far. I said last week on this space, is this All Blacks team the real All Blacks? Because if they're the real All Blacks, then they'll win. And yeah, it turns out they were the real All Blacks. I saw something in the group stage after they lost to France where they had a word with themselves and they said, look, this isn't what we do. We're the first All Blacks team to lose a pool stage at a World Cup. That's not how this team is going to be remembered. And they've gone out and played it. And this is why you don't put all your eggs in the World Cup basket. This is why you don't spend 4 years building for a tournament, because guess what? You get the All Blacks in the quarterfinal and you're going for the line with 5 minutes to go and a player holds you up over the line and then that's it.
Yeah.
This is the margins at this level. I thought it was a very even game. I thought the All Blacks defence did what they needed to do, and I thought that they ran their strike plays and got their tries when they needed to. So, yeah, I don't think Ireland can have any complaints. You're a good team, Ireland. You played well. Congratulations on what you've achieved. It's not diminished. This is the real All Blacks. And I was stunned in the week about how comfortable people were in, Ireland are going to beat the All Blacks. Yeah, the All Blacks are going home. Like, this is rugby, guys. New Zealand win Rugby World Cups. So I wasn't shocked, but the match itself, phenomenal. No losers, really.
Yeah, 100%. I fully agree, Hugh. I mean, no losers, no chokers. Actually, I mean, Ireland, this current Irish team does not deserve any of the choker tags currently. Vuyo, your thoughts on the spectacular box office fixture last night?
My friends, last week I spoke about Sam Kane not starting. I spoke about Bowden Barrett not starting. And they both looked at me and said, Vuyo, here we go. And these guys were phenomenal last night, both of them. They were brilliant. Look, good clear tactics I've seen from New Zealand. Hugh speaks about fitness. When you're facing a team and the best attacking team, what do? You make them tired. That's the only way you're going to win a rugby game. And how will you make them tired? They need to get off the ground. They need to make tackles. They need to get up. They need to shift. And that's what New Zealand did. They kept the ball. I think the tactic, I don't know who, obviously between the coaches, who came up with a tactic of keeping the ball in hand. That was the best tactic they've ever done for New Zealand rugby yesterday, because those guys kept the ball. They kept the ball. They kept them. Ireland kept on making tackle after tackle after tackle. And you could see, even in that last minute when Ireland was attacking, there was nothing, because they were so tired throughout the 60 minutes or 70 minutes of the game that they were just, when you do something just for the sake of doing it. And that's what they were doing. It felt like that last attack was just the sake of, let's attack because we can. There was nothing planned on it, and there was nothing in it. I'd be very interested to know who changed the Irish attack from touchline rucks to go to 10 and then to the forwards instead of going to the forwards first, because I saw that quite often in the game. I wonder who changed that, and that for me is a big worry, because if you are changing from yes, New Zealand is not coming off the line quite hard, but you're basically putting an extra player in from your touchline rucks, which will mean that Bandi Aki must be behind the ruck, the pod of the first pod. And that's what I felt Ireland couldn't do anymore, because Sexton was not being the orchestra that he is. He wasn't directing play because he was the one making the pass to that pod. So I felt that was the worst tactic that they ever tried. I don't know how it came. Maybe I'm mistaken, but I haven't seen it in this World Cup from Ireland. I know Ireland always go scrum off pass to the pod. Sexton is behind the pod and is telling the pod to pull it out the back or to take contact. So that for me was the worst. And but like I said, New Zealand. Sorry,
not to cut you. Do you not think maybe Farrell was trying to change a different picture or put out a different picture for Joe Schmidt, who probably understands the type of play obviously the Irish would use, and maybe this time around they're probably trying to change a bit of tactics regarding or knowing fully well that Joe Schmidt might understand the Irish type of play.
Yeah, but you see, sometimes sometimes this is the problem with coaches. I think we always think for the other people. We always think for the other coaches what we should expect from them. But this is one of the biggest mistakes that coaches make, is that instead of you have your identity. It's like New Zealand. We know New Zealand. New Zealand don't play off. They hardly score tries of first phase. They hardly score tries. They hardly build to get to tries. They work on turnovers. They work on a counter attack. So if we know that about New Zealand, that's their DNA. But now, when it comes to you as a coach thinking, how can I stop New Zealand? I need to stop kicking. I can't allow them to counter attack. But then you are changing your whole structure. Whereas you also have your DNA. Ireland has been brilliant through their DNA. We know they can defend. We know they are ferocious on defense. They move play fit. We on attack, we know their Johnny Sexton is running everything in terms of get it out the back. No, take contact, tip. He's directing that play. So why would you go and change that? That's the thing, though. And also, I mean, you mentioned it is that maybe they were scared of the fact that Joe Schmidt is part of that NZ team. But guess what? At the moment, they probably sitting there as a coaching staff and thinking, "Fuck, what have we done?" Because this guy, it's not like he was. We're still talking about Fozzie here. He's still Fozzie's team at the end of the day. They just needed to come out and win that game. But anyway, as you said, I think Fainga'anuku was perfect last night. I think he was brilliant. I don't see Telea coming back with his obviously disciplinary issues that he had, even if he did have or no have. But I think Fainga'anuku was pretty good last night. I think we're going to see New Zealand put up the same team going into next week. It was funny for me that to see Christie didn't get onto the field, which is a waste, which is why we were calling for Rogai to come in. Christie didn't get into the field. Gavin McKenzie didn't get into the field. And that's pretty sad because this is the time that they needed to actually be. But it's okay because they won the game. Now, imagine you lose one or two players in the semifinal and you need to win the semifinal. You're going to send people who haven't played rugby in over 3 weeks.
Oof. Heavy. TP, your views about Ireland and New Zealand?
So firstly, I'm just going to say that when it comes to knockouts, pool play is irrelevant. And I think our champion Vuyo would know a lot. They say in sevens that day one, you just got to make sure that you get into the cup quarterfinals, and from there you take it. And I think with the World Cup, it's exactly the same. How you play in the pool stages, how you dominate in the pool stages is irrelevant, because the quarterfinal, semi-final, and final is actually where you've got to dominate. And I think Ireland got a bit ahead of themselves. New Zealand knew exactly what they wanted to do with this World Cup. And thinking about it, both New Zealand and South Africa were smart in taking the losses and not playing each other in the quarterfinal, because that would have been a bit harsh. But but saying that, I think Ireland outdone themselves by playing majority of their players in all their pool games. You could see their fatigue, both physically and mentally. They weren't ahead on the scoreboard yesterday, and I think that took a toll, because I think for a few players it brought back memories of 2019 when they lost in the quarterfinals to New Zealand. I think New Zealand were very smart in their defense, not showing big line speed, because that's exactly what Ireland want. They want you to come up hard and fast so that they can play off of weak shoulders. And then New Zealand just used the opportunities better on attack. They were smart. They thought everything through. Mo'unga showed his brilliance for once in the All Blacks jumper, which I'm very happy about. And Ireland they just couldn't get any go forward, any momentum that they would usually get over the past 18 months. So I think they were just in a totally different space that they've never been for in such a long time. And they didn't know how to handle it.
Yeah, very, very, very tough space to be in, indeed. Jade, you want to jump in?
Yeah, I want to go back to the team selection. I mean, Rio and Taro touched a lot around the team selection, and I think you have to give credit to Fossey and his team. A lot of eyebrows was raised when he went with Fletcher Newell and Tamaiti Williams on the bench instead of Offa and Nepulaulala. But if you think back, those guys have been in championship rounds in Super Rugby. They've been on the field, in those dying minutes for the Crusaders. So they've been in those championship rounds where for their franchises, Nepo and Offa has most of the time been starters, So that actually was a good decision, and credit to Fozzie and his team. I mean, I don't know, Talo, I'd like to ask you on this regarding the New Zealand's defense, where you saw them use Lester Fainga'anuku a lot in the center. Okay, you can play center, but I mean on defense, where he was the one, tackling the runner from Ireland a lot. And even when Anton Leonard-Brown came on in the second half, he played on the wing. He didn't move to center. So what tactic did they actually look at? Is this a change in the Scott McLeod's way from defending? where we used to New Zealand being more passive defenders, using the sideline as an extra defender, and we all said this won't work in the World Cup. But I must give credit to the way the bench came on. There was a lot of talk that Ireland's bench is stronger. I listened to a lot of podcasts with a few mates of you that stated that Ireland's bench is strong, and I just laughed at it. And I mean, also the other thing, Portier for Ireland to give away 4 penalties in the game and still be on the field. Surely Farrell should have seen it's not his day and banned him sooner, I mean, he gave away 3 scrum penalties and 1 penalty at ruck time. Yeah. So he should have done it. And also another thing, overall in the game, there was only 5 scrums in this whole game. So just show the quality of rugby we had yesterday.
Whoa. Telo, you want to answer?
Yeah, I think, Jade, so what allowed that process to happen towards the latter end of the game was because Ireland weren't making meters, they started to throw more bodies into the breakdown because New Zealand was starting to contest the breakdown. So then out wide, Ireland actually started running out of numbers. And again, it's something that they were never used to. And that obviously allowed the opportunity for Fainganuku and for Leonard Brown to actually shoot up and catch that ball carrier. Because normally Ireland would always get a 4v3, a 4v2, a 5v4. But yesterday they were 3-on-3, 4-on-4, which is something different for them. And that really shows the smart and the thinking around how New Zealand actually worked out their defense for Ireland.
Solid stuff there, TP. Vickers?
Yeah, I just want to touch on what Telo was talking about. Ireland has got the best stack attack. They're throwing in. So with the Ireland stack attack, it's always based on basically 2 or 3 players targeting one channel, which is one defender. But as you said yesterday, it fell apart because New Zealand put them under pressure in the breakdown. And that's exactly why they were running out of numbers out wide. I mean, at some point, I was looking at New Zealand defense and they were so congested, but Ireland didn't have anything outside. They didn't have anything to offer. And I think that's where really, as Taylor said, they weren't used to being put under pressure and breakdown, maybe because of the pool stages that allowed them to think that they ruck smart. But at this point, the quarterfinal, they just literally felt out of numbers and probably broken down their attack, which is why I would say I don't understand how they started playing from the touchlines 9 to 10 to the pod. It's one of those things that you will never understand. And I mean, the coaches will regret it, and it's 4 years now to go. So we'll see how it goes in the next year, in the next 2 years. They're going to lose Sexton and obviously lose a couple of older players. But this one was tactically, they messed this up.
Yeah, no, 100%. I think it was very clear from the onset by New Zealanders that they will target that breakdown at all costs. If they don't jackal, they'll actually make sure that they slow down that ball to obviously set up the defensive lines as well, and also work on their line speed on D, which was very well worked actually. Gents, coming up in the next 20 minutes, we've got England versus Fiji. Big quarterfinal, and then we've got South Africa versus France. I want to talk through what we plan on seeing from a Fiji perspective and an England perspective. Hugh, I know you love England. It's your favorite country. What are your thoughts going into this quarterfinal, looking at Fiji, looking at England, and obviously what are your predictions? Who would you like to go through between these two sides?
Nervous, very nervous. I think England, obviously, Borthwick has changed the selection again. It's not a selection that I have a problem with, to be honest, in terms of the back line. I have got no problem with Marcus Smith being a fullback, and I think a lot of the top teams are playing a fly half at fullback, whether it's Bodie or whether it's Willemse. I know fly half isn't his best position. Ramos, you've got Kinghorn for Scotland. They tried to do it in Australia with Donaldson. So having a number 10 in the number 15 shirt is in fashion, and it can work. And I think I have seen enough evidence so far in the few minutes that it's been on the pitch together as it can work. And I like than playing Farrell. If you're going to have Farrell on the pitch, it needs to be at fly half. He's wasted at 12 and he completely undermines whoever the fly half is. So I think it's a good selection from Borthwick. It's just, why is it taken until the quarterfinal of the World Cup for it to happen when it was clearly plan B in every other game that has been played? So maybe he's arrived at the winning formula just by luck. From a Fiji point of view, Fiji can take belief in that everything that Samoa did to test England, Fiji can do better. But Fiji's point of view now is injuries. They've got Batitu at 10, who is not a 10. He really struggled against Portugal. He really didn't give their attack any shape. His kicking from hands, and obviously he didn't kick for goal at all, was a problem. They've got Kuravoli back on the bench, who obviously kicked them to victory against Australia, but I would suggest that he's probably not fit. They don't have Teller available. Having Muntz gone was already a disaster. Having Teller gone as well now, it's a really bad situation for them. So I have to worry. I've got to back Naith Levu to stand up and be their man and lead them in this game. They're playing in their change strip, which anyone who hasn't seen it, a lot of people really like this kit. Hopefully that can inspire them. I don't know. I'm a bit worried about Fiji, to be honest, because I worry that they might be running on empty. I worry that injuries are going to tell. Playing players out of position. Jorosese is back at 15, which is huge. Draja is back on the wing. They've swapped out Matavesi for Ikanavere, and I really like Ikanavere. I don't necessarily think that is a bad thing for them. And I think Thiriki Davita is also not in the team. I don't know whether he's injured or not. Yeah, as a Fiji fan, worried. And England have managed to get through the pool stages pretty much unscathed. Yeah. And I think Borthwick has arrived, Johnny May aside, at pretty much his best team. So it's going to be brutal, though. And Fiji are not going down without a fight. And I don't think, no matter what happens, I don't think England are going to find scoring tries easy.
No, fair enough.
Yeah.
Don't go down without a fight. It's Friday night, action night, only on E. Vuyo, your thoughts on this quarterfinal between Fiji and England?
Yeah, as Hugh says, I think it's going to be tough, guys. What I don't know if they've run out of steam with Fiji, but when I look at it, I think obviously this will probably be one of those games where Fiji will need to step up. Have they fixed their lineups? We don't know. Have they fixed their general play? We don't know, but we'll see how it goes. But for me, I still think probably I'll still give it to Fiji based on my friend Jade telling me that Fiji's going to make a semi-final. But it's going to be a tough grind. It's going to be a tough grind for Fiji if they want to win this one. It won't be as easy. It won't be as easy as some of the pool games that they've had in terms of control of the game. They will have to push right through. I do think though that it could get to the point where England wins the game, and then obviously we'll play probably France or South Africa in the quarters.
France or South Africa in the quarters. TP, your thoughts?
Yeah, so the big thing for me is just discipline from Fiji. I think they've got the players. They need to do what New Zealand did yesterday, but just maybe a bit better in terms of putting England away in that first 20, but they're not conceding and allowing England to catch up. I think if they can do that, we know that Farrell, like his fellow European fly-offs, your Johnny Sextons, they like to complain. So I think that will be what Fiji will need to do. They need to get their discipline up because they've got the players. They've got the physicality. Yes, their fitness will be tested. But if they can be disciplined for the full 80 and just play the Fijian game, then I think we'll see them in the semi-finals.
Against the Springboks. Jade?
Yeah, no, listen, I'm sticking with Fiji for this game. I called it. I think they'll be up for it. I think they had a few distractions in the camp. I mean, Matavesi's dad passing on, and then we had the same, shocking news with Toisova as well. They had some few unsettled. They need, for me, they need to start well. They need to maintain that physicality, not drop off, not force play. Do what they did at Twickenham, and they'll be all right today. They'll be all right. I think if you're looking at the game they played at Twickenham where they beat England, Tuisova and Botia didn't even play. But for me, big players today are those two. They need to get off the advantage line. When they have front foot ball, they need to take the opportunities, not be greedy. Throw the 50-50 if it's on, but if it's not on, keep the ball, recycle, stretch England and make them play. Go up with their physicality because they are more physical than England. And guys, come on, this English team was rubbish. Fiji can knock them today. Fiji stick to their guns, they can knock them. So yeah, I'm going with Fiji today.
Big calls, big calls, big calls. Hugh, jump in.
Yeah, one thing I will say is if you're a Fiji player and you get tackled by Owen Farrell, hit the deck immediately. Go down like you've been shot. And then the TMO might review it and you never know, you might get him sent off. So but that would be my suggestion. But just to float this out there, I know we've got to talk about the other quarterfinal in a minute. If Fiji go out and then if South Africa go out later, that would be all Pool A and all Pool D have gone through to the semi-finals. Pools where there was only really one big game for the big teams, and it didn't matter whether they won or lost it because they were still going to go through because they had pretty much zero opposition in the other three games in their pool. Whereas Pool B and Pool C, where a lot of the games mattered, they either were against really tough opposition or you needed to get a big points difference on the board. Those teams would have gone out. So this goes back to something that I was asked on another podcast, which is, do rest weeks, do down weeks help? Yes, I absolutely believe they do. Look at England in 2019, had their hardest pool match against France cancelled. So had 2 rest weeks in the pool stages going into the quarterfinals against an Australia team that was no opposition for them. So I think it goes to show 7 games of test rugby in 8 weeks is borderline impossible in this modern day and age.
Incredible. Yeah, 100%, 100%. Jumping on to the big one this evening, Springboks and France. Vickers, I'm going to start with you. Erasmus and Jacques Ninaba obviously delayed their team announcement this week. We usually used to them mentioning the team, on a Monday or on a Tuesday prior to kickoff. And this week they delayed it and waited until Thursday to announce the Springbok side. And obviously we've seen the French side as well. There's also been Antoine Dupont, who's starting from a surgery 3 weeks ago and is starting today. I mean, your thoughts, overall picture from the teams that have been announced. What can we expect from the Springboks? What can we expect from France? And prediction, who do you have winning tonight? Go ahead.
Yeah, it's actually quite interesting selection by South Africa. They went with the 5-3, which is, we haven't seen that in a long, long time. I actually thought when the team came out, I thought it was fake, but it was obviously what it was. For me, I think, look, the game is going to be won up front. So they clearly don't see any threat with the forward dominance from France. So which is why they probably went with the team that they have. I have my theories that we can't share publicly, but it's one of those things where I think for England, for South Africa.
Wait, hang on, because you can't do that to us. You can't do that.
No, but you see, the thing is, it's people. You have to listen and see how things are. I'm not sure. Like, I've been saying this for quite a while. South Africa is holding back on something. I don't know if they're doing it on purpose. I don't know if they're not that the 35 win against New Zealand dominance that we've been looking for, because that's what we were excited about when we started the World Cup.
Yeah.
But we haven't seen that. So I still feel there's something that is going on behind the back doors. Obviously, rumors about the big man moving to Ireland. We already know the head coach is moving to Ireland. So it's one of those things where I don't know what's happening. But I'm obviously, my speculations are are not there yet. We'll see how it goes if South Africa are out of today's World Cup, and then we'll probably hear some news this week. But anyway, I think look, for me, to make Kobus Reina to start ahead of Faf, it goes to show that there is a kicking plan on point. We're gonna kick a lot of bombs, so it's gonna be one of those where is France gonna be contesting quite a lot in the air. We look at the other selection. They've gone for Dwayne, so meaning that obviously they need Sia to be calm. They need Sia to have some sort of like a second voice within the field. So yeah, and big surprising was Manili Bok starting. Yes, not a big surprise, but it's a surprise for me because obviously the criticism that is caught up within these past few weeks has been tough. So yeah, so it's a matter of, I think if I look at France is not going to dominate South Africa in the forwards. They won't be able to dominate South Africa in the forwards because South Africa's when you look at the teams across the board, South Africa's got a better forward pack. But are they going to start throwing the ball around? What have we done this past 2 weeks to make sure that we cancel out those offloads, because that's the most dangerous. As you tweeted in the week, Scoop, is that you said if Dupont starts, you won't last 10 minutes. I think there's definitely a plan. Peter Steph du Toit has probably been told, look, whatever happens, you just need to be screaming and going at that at Dupont, and that's what's going to happen, and that's what we must be waiting for. So it's going to be interesting to see. I think when I say I'm going for Boks for this one, going for Boks, because if Boks win this one, then I see Boks obviously going to the World Cup final, and they've never lost a World Cup final. They've never lost a World Cup final. They've played 3 World Cup finals. They've won all 3 World Cup finals. So we'll see how it goes. But I think if France win, obviously, then I'm going to slightly go towards New Zealand, and obviously New Zealand taking it.
Oof, hectic. Hugh, your thoughts on this big one?
It's going to be incredible. It's going to be like last night all over again. The Boks are going to do what they do. I don't think that the 5-3-6-2 makes that much of a difference, really. I think they've obviously felt the need to have Pollard on the bench in case Lebok has an off day off the tee again. I think that's all we can read into that. Apart from that, it's they're so interchangeable, and there's so little drop off between number 1 and number 2 in most positions. I think it doesn't really harm them too much. I saw some people saying because of Kwagga Smith, it's actually a 4-4 split, which I found that quite funny. But from France's point of view, they just got to keep doing what they're doing. They just got to pretend like they're playing any other team. You can't, when you're trying to be the team that France are trying to be, you can't just keep changing depending on whoever you're playing. I find it interesting they brought Dupont straight back in. I've spoken to more than one person in the week who said that Luku is not a bad scrum half, and he's got the relationship with Jalibert. So why not have Dupont on the bench to come on later on in the match? I don't think they'd have lost anything. And if Dupont's not fully fit, or if his focus or concentration isn't fully there because of his injury or whatever it is, it's a gamble. It's a gamble. I can't call this match. I think it's going to be absolutely incredible. I think there's going to be a lot of running. People don't necessarily associate with the Boks team stereotypically, but what we saw them do against Ireland, I think both of these teams are going to run the ball a lot. So it's going to be a really exciting game, and I can't wait. And I can't call it. I gave it to France based on it being a home game for them, and I think that's a huge difference maker. But I think the Boks are easily good enough to win it. So that's me sitting firmly on the fence.
Vuyo?
No, I just wanted to make a comment on what Hugh was talking about in terms of the selection. If you have an injured player or sort of like a 70 to 100 fully ready, you have to start that player, because if you put him on the bench and then you sub him onto the field and then he gets out, you can't really have another person. So you have to start with the injured player so that you have a fully fit player on the bench. So I think that's what France have considered. If they lose Dupont within the first couple of minutes, first half, then at least someone else can come through. So that's basically, I would basically, like, for me, I would have done the same thing. I would have rather started him instead of putting him on the bench, because you never know when you make a sub and you bring him in onto the team, onto the field, and then he gets knocked in the first couple of minutes that he's in the field. Yeah, so it's possible that they just got the fact that he was coming back from injury.
Yeah, okay, fair enough. That makes a lot of sense. Jade, and then Thelo, you can jump after him.
Yeah, no, guys, I can't wait for this one. I think it's going to be the same like last night. I think we're not going to sit in our seats and watch the game. We're going to be standing and watching it, because we are going to be entertained. I think the Boks is going into this game, and sorry for my language, Scoop, but with this fuck France mentality, who are they? They don't deserve the respect. We're the world champions. We'll destroy them. I think that's exactly what Rassi and Jacques is telling them. Go fuck them up with your physicality. And the Boks at scrum time today, they're going to be dominant. I don't think Antonio will get away with what he's been getting away with. Ben O'Keefe has been told, they briefed already on earlier to check the heat. He's been briefed on it by New Zealand Rugby as well, to check the heat of Antonio. He doesn't take the heat. So I think they're going to get onto that. They're gonna punish France at scrum time. I'm not sure how fit Cyril Bay is, but I don't see France getting the upper hand at scrum time. Lineouts will be different, because France do have a good lineup with Waku, Olivon, Aldrit. They've got a lot of options at lineout time, so the Boks really need to be on it, especially when Dion Fourie comes in. They need to be safe at lineout time. However, I think the matchups, Duane versus Aldrit, Sia versus Olivon, the Battle of the Hookers, Dallender versus Dante, guys, Damien Pinot versus Kirtley Arons, or Chetan Cole. I think Chetan Colby. What a game we have tonight, guys. What a game. Mouth-watering. This could be a final. I'm going for the Boks to sneak it, although I did say France will win this World Cup. I want the Boks to win tonight. I want that 95 World Cup again, final again. But yeah, what a game we have tonight, guys. What a flipping game.
TP, the French want revenge from 1995.
Jeez, I think half of these guys weren't even in primary school back then. But I think the biggest concern for me would be if Bongi gets injured early and Dion has to come on early, because our maul is such a powerful weapon, and we've got to win that line-out ball. We know that throwing a line-out in practice and in a big game like this is two different things, and I think that will unsettle Dion a bit. But other than that, I'm just also worried that the 5-3 split might change the mentality of the forwards, because when you have 6 or 7 forwards on the bench, you can go all out guns blazing. But now that they only have 5 forwards, you almost got to hold back a bit, because some guys have to play the full 80. So I think that will be a test for the Boks. France are just going to play on emotion. They're going to play on Dupont, and they're going to hope that things work out for them. But I give it to the Boks by 10.
Lovely, lovely, lovely. Boks by 10. Gentlemen, we've come to the end of the special.
Before we go, Scoop, to the guys that listen to the pod, Keke and you guys from the individual squad, enjoying it to France tonight. I know if you listen to the pod tomorrow, when you're back, I want to say enjoy it, guys. I know you won't listen to it now, but enjoy it. And yeah, we're proud of you guys for what you do and the way you entertain the crowd and the way you really, promote rugby in South African all sport.
Away, Jade. Gentlemen, we're going to watch Fiji and England just now. Thank you very much once again for joining the Sunday. Thank you, viewers. Thank you, Hugh. Thank you, Jade. Thank you, Thelo. And then thank you to all the listeners as well, gents. Let's enjoy the footy, and I'll see you guys next week, Sunday. Cheers, gentlemen.
Thank you all.
Cheers, brother.
Cheers, guys.
Cheers, guys. Cheers.